There are a lot of opinions out there about young children's media use, but there's a lot of research too. And research tells us that screens can't teach your child everything they need to know, but they're also not rotting your child's brain. The answer lies somewhere in the middle, and it's all about balancing risk and reward. Let's unpack the research about the pros and cons of screen use for kids. There's a lot to talk about in terms of health and development concerns related to children's digital media use. We need to cover these topics so that you understand everything that we currently know about children and screens. However, please don't let this information cause you too much guilt or fear. Again, screens will not rot your child's brain. Digital media itself is not the main issue, but rather how media is being used. The majority of the research studies that we will cover are largely about using media in unhealthy ways, including excessive media use or watching inappropriate types of content. Many of these studies show a connection between media and problems without proving that one thing causes another. But this information is helpful because it teaches us how to balance the good and the bad sides of using screens. The first concern related to children's media use is obesity. Research shows that screen time can be linked to increases in weight for preschoolers. One study of 2-year-old children found that higher body mass index numbers, or BMI, were linked with more time spent watching television shows with commercials. There are a few possible reasons for this link. Children might see more food ads when watching shows with commercials, and seeing food ads might cause them to ask for more foods that they saw and eat more foods that are high in calories. Another possibility is that using screens while eating distracts kids from being able to tell when their body is full, which leads to overeating. And a third possibility is that screen use may be taking the place of exercise and play. Some studies say that this doesn't happen often and that screen time mostly takes the place of other inactive things like doing puzzles or reading, but it's still worth thinking about and considering what screen time might be replacing in your child's day. We'll talk more about how to prevent these issues when we make a media plan together later. A second health concern related to young children's screen time is sleep. More media use is linked with less sleep for kids. Having a screen like a TV or a phone or a computer in a child's bedroom is linked to fewer minutes of sleep each night. And screens might affect sleep because they're seen as exciting devices for kids. And another possibility is that blue light from screens might affect the chemicals in their brain to make them feel less sleepy. The best way to avoid these types of problems is to keep screens out of the bedroom and reduce screen time in the hours before bedtime. Avoid making screens a part of the bedtime routine. A third health concern about media is whether or not it impacts children's brain development. Research has found links between screen time and delays in development. There are links between regularly using media before 18 months old, having too much screen time each day, so more than 2 hours per day, and watching inappropriate media content with delays in functioning for preschoolers. One area of young brains that is especially impacted by having too much screen time is language development. This is likely because when screens are on, caregivers are less likely to talk to young children. One study found that when a TV is on, parents say 39% fewer words to their child. This is extremely important because parents speaking to their children is the main way that kids learn early language. There is a lot of research looking at how screens can interrupt caregiver-child time together. Studies show that background TV or having the TV on in the background when no one else is actively watching it takes attention away from talking to your child. This can also lead to fewer words spoken by caregivers to a child. Also, background TV can be distracting for kids and lead to less time playing. So when possible, turn off the TV. We're not telling you any of this to scare you. It's just really important to know the facts and to aim for 1 hour or less per day of screen time when that's possible. But we recognize that following these screen time recommendations all the time is not realistic for many families. Above all else, we just want you to remember that kids learn and grow best from in-person interactions with their caregivers. Even the highest quality screen time content cannot replace this. You matter the most. And on that note, there is a growing area of research about something called technoference. Technoference is when screens disrupt real face-to-face interactions. It's when you're paying attention to your phone and not to the people around you. This often causes caregivers to miss children trying to interact, like a toddler asking you a question or a baby cooing at you. And research shows that when caregivers are on their phone, it lowers their types of caregiver-child communication. Caregivers who are too caught up in a screen are slow to reply to children and misunderstand what they need and react more harshly to their children. When caregivers use screens a lot, it is linked to worse behaviors from children and negative feelings for kids like aggression and sadness. There's a lot of research on how screen time also influences children's behaviors in general. Children copy the behaviors that they see on screen, including negative behaviors like hurting others. When kids see aggression, violence, bad language, emotion outbursts, stealing, risky behaviors, they might try to copy those behaviors. The more loud and flashy and negative that these behaviors are on screen, the more that kids are going to pay attention and try to copy. Even if the negative behaviors that they see on screen are corrected later in the show or in the game, children hold on to the negative things that they saw and miss out on that bigger lesson. So what your child is watching or using on screen makes a really big difference. Even if screen time amounts change from day to day, you can stay in charge of the type and the quality of shows that your kids see. Educational media is the best content option for young children. One research study found that switching out violent media for educational media caused positive changes in kids' behavior after screen time. And another study found that watching educational media content and having a caregiver actively setting limits and talking about screen time led to positive changes in children's brain development. It's important to remember that all kids are unique and that media affects each child differently. But you are the expert on your children and you are the best person to make these healthy media decisions for them. Now that you know about some of the risks and how to avoid them, let's talk about the benefits of screen time for kids. Did you know that there is an entire area of research that's working to find ways to make screen time beneficial? There is. Researchers like us are trying to know how caregivers rely on screens as a tool. There are exciting, social, creative, interactive, and educational possibilities for young children that can come from healthy screen use. One benefit of screen time is bonding. When adults and children use media together, like watching TV shows or playing a video game, it can strengthen their bond. Yes, screen time can be quality time. This happens through joint media engagement. And joint media engagement is when an adult actively participates in a child's media experience by asking questions, making connections, or sharing personal experiences about media content. We'll talk more about this in the third set of videos, but it's important to know that this type of media interaction shows interests and support to a child, which creates a feeling of connection. And a bonus is that using media together can also give you ideas for follow-up conversations or ways to play together when the shared screen time is over. Starting around age 2, children can also start to bond with characters on screen. These friendships often happen when a child sees the same character multiple times and likes them. Children may begin to connect with media characters' emotions and experiences. They may talk about characters as if they are real friends and find familiar characters comforting. When your child is watching educational content, these on-screen relationships can be a helpful tool. Media characters that your child connects with can serve as role models for them. For example, they may show positive examples of embracing diversity and skills like kindness, emotion control, problem solving. Children ages 2 and older can learn many skills from educational TV. And research shows that the benefits of educational TV programs for language, literacy, math, science, creativity, and social emotional skills in preschool and later. Networks like PBS Kids make educational content free and widely available. Research has even found that watching high-quality educational TV in the preschool years predicts both kindergarten readiness and academic achievement in high school. So choosing high-quality media content for children when they're young can help give them a strong base of knowledge to grow for years to come. So far, we've been talking about the benefits of TV. That's because research about apps is really much newer. Educational TV has been around since the 1970s, but the first iPad was not available until 2010. Even though it is new, research suggests that children learn differently from apps than they do from videos. Some research shows that apps are the most helpful for learning when they teach science, technology, engineering, and math. So that's STEM lessons. Apps and interactive ebooks can also support language learning by helping children practice letters, phonics, and sight words. And the benefits of screen time are different for each child and change with each media experience. A lot of it depends on your goals as a caregiver. Every time you turn on a screen, number 1, think about why you are offering screen time. 2, remember the risks. And 3, make choices to support the benefits. In our research, we found that there are many reasons caregivers use media. Sometimes it's used to entertain children or to keep them safely occupied. Other times, media is used to bond. Another reason is that caregivers offer screen time as a way to educate and teach their children. These are all valid reasons. While your reasons for using media will change from day to day, the research agrees that children over 2 years old can and do learn from high-quality educational media. Our next video will cover how to select high-quality options for your kids. And just to summarize the key takeaways, first, caregivers should consider their goals when offering screen time and make choices to support the benefits of screens while being aware of the risks. Next, excessive screen time is linked to obesity, sleep problems, and delays in brain development. Screens can interrupt caregiver-child interactions in a negative way, but joint media engagement can help children learn from media and support bonding. Educational media can help children learn language, literacy, math, science, creativity, and social emotional skills.